Hello everybody, happy Monday afternoon. I hope you guys are all doing good. So, day 22 of my 30 days of live videos. We're just like going through these. All right, so today's topic are frequently asked questions that I get all the time about renting Disney Vacation Club points. I have so many videos here on YouTube about how to rent Disney Vacation Club points that it sparks people's questions like a lot. And so I'm hopefully going to gather all those up and put them in one video for you, and hopefully that'll be super helpful and clarifying for you if you are interested in renting a Disney Vacation Club points. So take a step back. Disney Vacation Club is Disney's version of a timeshare type of thing where people buy into it. They own, I guess, like an interest in these properties, and they get a certain amount of points every single year that they can either use or they can bank or they can borrow from or whatever. And those of us who are either DVC members or are not DVC members can rent these points from Disney Vacation Club owners to stay on Disney Vacation Club property. Good morning or good afternoon, for very inexpensively. So what I mean by very inexpensively, there have been years where my husband and I have stayed at the boardwalk at Disney, which is the backside of Epcot, where it has been like $120 a night, $140 a night. Like, that is a very, very inexpensive price to stay at such a nice hotel on Disney property. It makes for such a better experience. You have more room. You either have a full kitchen or a kitchenette or whatever. So it makes for a great experience. Now, I get a lot of questions when I talk about this, so I'm going to try to clarify it and sum it all up and wrap it all up in a nice little bow for you guys to hopefully answer some of your questions about this. So the first question I get all the time is, do you have to be a DVC member to rent Disney Vacation Club points? The answer is no. I am not a Disney Vacation Club owner. I have rented Disney Vacation Club points from Disney Vacation Club owners for since 2011. So what is that, 8 years? And I've never ever owned a Disney Vacation Club ever in my life. So the next question I often get is, how do you do this? What is your secret? What is the magic behind all this? So the idea is you have two different ways of going about renting Disney Vacation Club points. And so so take a step, the two ways are either directly from a Disney Vacation Club owner, so somebody who actually owns those points. You do the transaction with them, or you can go through a third-party company, a brokerage that handles all of that transaction for you. Hey, Lynn, we were just chatting. So it's one of those two things. So the first way, when you rent directly from somebody who owns a Disney Vacation Club points, like they are actually a DVC owner, you're gonna do the legwork yourself. So basically what you're doing is you are doing the transaction with this person one-to-one. They are going to rent the points out to you. Bingo, bango, you're done. If you use the third-party brokerage, the benefits of that is you don't have to do the upfront legwork yourself. The company does that for you. So you tell the company, I want to stay at the boardwalk on these dates in this particular type of room, yada, yada. And they will do the finding of the person who has the points to rent. They'll do it all on their end. And you're paying a little bit more price per point by going through brokerage. So if you want to do it yourself, there are two websites I recommend to do it yourself, unless you happen to know personally somebody who has a DVC membership. Then you can just do it with them. You don't have to do this. But if you don't, like myself, I don't, I have used these two websites, disboards.com, 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 or mouseowners.com. Both of those are chat boards, and you have to set up a free little membership account to those chat boards. But once you have that, you logged in and then you can find on there people who are renting out their points. The difference with Mouse Owners is that mouseowners.com, there is a chat thread board in there There are people who have preset reservations for rent. So we have had to do this in the past, a couple of trips where we have decided we wanted to go down to Disney kind of at the last minute, and there was nothing available outside of Saratoga Springs, and we really wanted to stay not at Saratoga Springs, not that Saratoga Springs is bad, but we really wanted to stay either near Magic Kingdom or near Epcot. So we actually took over somebody else's existing DVC reservation. And when we did that, they just transferred their name from their name to our name. We got the confirmation number and all of that, and we just overtook their reservation. So that is a good possibility, a good option for you if you're going down to Disney. Maybe either your dates are flexible or you have a certain set of dates and there's no availability because you didn't book 7 months in advance or whatever. That is a really good option for you. Okay, so that is mouseowners.com where you can find that. Also disboards.com. You can hook up with a renter through both of those. Through those two chat boards, 100% of the time I have had a good experience. So you just kind of have to keep in mind, you're not renting points or making the reservation from Disney. You're making it through a person, somebody who actually is a DVC member. So there is a little bit of risk there because it's not Disney backing you. It's, you're just going one-to-one with a person. However, I can tell you since 2011, 100% of the time, I have had really, really good experience, good customer service with these DVC renter owners. And it's been great, okay? All right, so other side of the coin here. So we have also different types of brokers or companies that will do this for you. And there's a little bit more of a protection there, I think, when going through an actual company. So David's DVC Rentals, a great company to do. I think they're out of Canada. There's also the Timeshare Store. They are awesome also. There's a lot of different ones that do this. I recommend both of those just because they are sponsors of the Disboards. They've been around for years and years and years, and they know what they're doing. So basically what you do with them is the same kind of thing you would do individually with an owner. You're just doing it with this company. And the company is like the middleman. They are the person that's going to find you the reservation. They're going to find you, the points. You don't ever deal directly with an owner, you're dealing with a company. So it's just kind of, there's a little bit of safety there, I guess, when you're dealing with a company rather than with a person in certain people's minds. So the other kind of the downside of that is you're going to be paying more per point when you go through a company versus when you do it directly one-on-one with an owner. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so the next question that I oftentimes get is, what happens after I make my reservation? What do I do then? So after the Disney Vacation Club owner makes the reservation on your behalf, they are going to send you the confirmation number. It's a normal reservation number, just like you would have booked through Disney staying at Port Orleans Riverside. It's the same type of thing. They tie it to your name. So the information you give to them is your name, your address, how many people are in your party, and the ages, so they know if it's junior or adults or whatever, phone number, email address, all the typical type of stuff that anybody would get by taking your reservation, all right? So after they have the reservation made, they make it in your name, they send you, this is they not meaning Disney, they meaning the Disney Vacation Club owner, the person, they send you the reservation confirmation number. Once you have that, then you just tie it to your My Disney experience, you put it on your magic bands, they'll send you magic bands, it's just like a normal reservation. You're just not making it through Disney, you're making it through a person or a company. That's not Disney. So you get the same kind of perks that you would if you were staying on any Disney property. So you get extra magic hours. You have the option of doing Disney's Magical Express if you want to. You can add on, if you want to do the dining package, you can add that in. If you want to get tickets through Disney, you can add those on. It's just like a regular room only reservation. So I hope that kind of answers that question too, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't know what happens after that. Most of the time, if you are renting your points through a person, and that's why I'm talking about this like one-to-one kind of thing, because that's where I have my experience, not through going through a broker or another company. When you make that transaction with the person, most of the time how I have done it has been through PayPal. And so there is a little bit of protection there when you go through PayPal, just in case something happens. If it ends up being, whatever, you have that extra little money back kind of protection when you go through PayPal. So just kind of keep that in mind also. I get the question also, do you, meaning me, do I get travel insurance when I do this? And my answer to that is yes, I do. And the reason for that is personally, we have had to cancel trips before due to medical reasons, due to weather, due to whatever, like different types of circumstances. And when you rent Disney Vacation Club points, they're non-refundable. So I always personally do travel insurance. It's not very expensive. It's like $50, $75, depending on, how long you're staying, how many people are going. Like, it all just kind of depends on the type of protection you want. I personally have gotten my travel insurance through travelinsured.com. They have been fantastic. I've had to actually do 2 different claims with them, and I got my full amount back on the price that I paid for my DVC rental. So I've had to use them. They've been great. Travelinsured.com. Not a sponsored video, by the way. This is just like my life here. All right, so other questions that I have gotten, I'm trying to think back to my previous videos that I have done, because people often ask this question. I've gotten the question of how do I add like dining, or how do I add tickets, or how do I add Disney's Magical Express or whatever to your reservation, just like you would any other reservation. Okay, so when you get your reservation number, your confirmation number, it's tied to your My Disney Experience account. Like it's yours. It's your name that's on it. So you would just call up Disney or whatever and say, hey, I need to add Disney's Magical Express to my reservation. Here's my reservation number, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's literally no different. So by staying on at Disney Vacation Club property, right, or any other Disney property, you have extra magic hours, so you have that benefit. You also, if you are renting Disney Vacation Club points and you have a car, you do have the ability to park for free at your DVC property. That was something that they were kind of playing with a little bit early on when they were starting to charge for parking. So if you are staying on Disney property in a value, in a moderate, in a deluxe resort, and you have a car, you have to pay to park now. It's like this kind of newer thing, but you can park at the parks for free. You're prepaying for it, I guess, right? But when you're renting Disney Vacation Club points, you have the perks as a Disney Vacation Club member, which is free parking at your hotel. So that is a question that I have gotten a number of times now. They will just give you a little parking pass at the little check-in gate thing or whatever. We have done mobile check-in before, so you can like pre-check in on your My Disney Experience app, just like any other person can. And when your room is ready, they will text it to you, so you can go directly to that room. It'll tie your magic band to it, so you just go boop, and you're like right in. So that's something that is a nice little perk that everybody gets when you stay on Disney property, but even by renting Disney Vacation Club points, you get that perk also. So that's something that's kind of good. You get to make your Fastpass reservations way ahead of time, and same thing with your dining reservations also. Like, it's just like having a normal hotel reservation. So I hope that answers your guys' questions. A lot of times, with the concept of renting Vacation Club points seems so foreign to people, because it's kind of like, well, I'm not making this reservation through Disney. Like, what am I doing? And you kind of are, but you're using like a middleman to make that reservation for you. So I hope that's how I'm explaining that makes sense. When you're renting Disney Vacation Club points, if you have somebody you're renting from that actually owns at the resort that you're wanting to stay at. So let's say I want to stay at Boardwalk. I will hunt those 2 boards, disboards.com and mouseowners.com, and I will see if I can find somebody that owns at the Boardwalk. Fastpass, how does it work at the park? Okay, I'll come back to that. So when you have an owner for that particular hotel or whatever that you're with, they can make the reservation for you 11 months in advance. If it is somebody that does not own at the boardwalk, they can make the reservation for you 7 months in advance. Here's the thing, depending on the time of year and the resort you want to stay at, you're gonna want to try to find somebody at that 11-month mark. A lot of times the resorts will have a certain amount of rooms that are reserved for points people, DVC people, point rental people, and that kind of thing. So sometimes they do sell out. So you might have to be a little flexible with where you want to stay versus going directly through Disney. But 9 times out of 10, there's at least availability at Saratoga Springs and Old Key West, which we have stayed at both. And they are both really nice parks. I would stay, if I had the choice between the two of those only, I would stay at Old Key West in a heartbeat because the rooms are gigantic. It's like just such a nice resort. I really, really like it. So anyway, there's that. Okay, so Fastpass is when you can reserve a ride time for whatever park you're going to. And so it's basically like you go online, you go on your My Disney Experience app. It's a free app that you can put on your phone, or you could just go online to sign in to your My Disney Experience account online. And at the, let's see, it's 60 days if you're staying on site on a Disney property, 30 days in advance if you're not, if you're staying off site. And you can go in and you can say, okay, I want to stay, or I want to ride Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom at 11 a.m. on this particular park day. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you just kind of have to be flexible, but you get 3 of those little Fastpass things included with your park ticket right now for free. There's rumors that you're gonna have to buy them or whatever later on down the road. I don't know, nothing's really come of that yet. But at least at Disney World right now, as of March 25th, 2019, it is free to make your Fastpass plus reservations for your ride times. And it makes touring the parks a lot easier for some. If you're in the Disney knowledge bubble, it makes it a lot easier to be able to plan your trip out. For some people where they've never been to Disney before and they don't really know like what's going on, it can be a little confusing to know what rides you want to ride and which ones need a fast pass, which ones don't, you know, but there's tons of videos on YouTube about that. I even have them here too, about which ones I use Fastpass for and which ones I don't. So yeah, that's what Fastpass is. You can get to the front of your line of a ride very, very quickly. It's basically, it cuts your wait time down to about 10 minutes instead of like however long it could be, an hour or whatever. So there we go. So other questions. Do you guys have any questions? You're welcome. That have about renting Disney Vacation Club points that I haven't talked about. You cannot, as far as I know, pay for Disney Vacation Club point rentals with Disney gift cards. That is another question I have gotten. Because you're paying cash to somebody, it is just a cash transaction or PayPal or whatever. So you don't use Disney gift cards for it because you're not buying them from Disney, you're buying them from a person. Like I said, it is a huge cost savings for us for really good experience. We have stayed at the boardwalk between $120, $140 a night in a standard view, studio room at the boardwalk. Normally these things go between, I don't even check anymore, $350 to $450 to $500 a night, depending on the time of year. So my favorite DVC property that I've stayed in would be the boardwalk. That I have not stayed in, though, that is on the list, is definitely the Grand Floridian, for sure. We were gonna stay at Bay Lake Tower, but Hurricane Irma wiped out those plans, so we ended up staying at the boardwalk that trip because we had to reschedule, and that was the trip where we overtook somebody's reservation. So we still wanted to go. We had to cancel our trip because of the hurricane. We ended up going like 2 weeks later. Is that right? It was like the last week of September 2 years ago. And we ended up overtaking somebody's reservation that they had to cancel, and they were looking for somebody to take it. So we took it, and we ended up getting a preferred room at the boardwalk. And I want to say it was about the same price, like $145 maybe a night, something like that. We did a split stay. We were off site for 2 days, and then we were on site at the boardwalk for the rest of the trip. But we were going to stay at Bay Lake Tower, and I was very excited about that because you can walk to the Magic Kingdom from Bay Lake or take the monorail if you want to. Yeah, you remember that. So I, that's just like my personal favorite. I love the boardwalk. It's like my thing. I would say secondary, Polynesian's always wonderful, right? The Grand Floridian is always wonderful. Like, that's just like my thing. So yeah, I would definitely say boardwalk's my favorite. But we want to try Beach Club too at some point, but we just haven't done it yet, so. Anyway, all right, y'all. Well, I hope that answers your questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow with another video, day 23 of my 30 Days Live videos. If you have any suggestions on things you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. Give this